Just taking a second. It's almost there. Oh, good.
I'll start meeting. For starters, we would like to acknowledge that the land that we meet on today is the traditional land of the Gawler people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Gawler people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to living Gawler people today. So first up, attendance. We do not have any apologies that I'm aware of. We have one absence, Dan Good. I don't believe we have any. Are there any motions to grant leave of absence? No? There are no standing leave of absences. So, moving on to declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? No? Excellent. So, confirmation of minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read the meetings on the 1st of June? Okay, they move that and they second it for those reasons, please. Okay, so Jay, move it and Fiona as a seconder. All those in favour? Unanimously carried. Was there any business arising from it? Oh, okay. Councillor Davies.
I guess just to officially note this in terms of what happened at the last meeting in regards to resignations and nominations and membership. Basically, it hasn't gone through yet because the council has to approve it, and the council has a little rule that if our meetings go for more than 4 hours, we stop and reschedule the rest of the meetings another time. So that's coming up. Hopefully tomorrow that will all be approved, but it just didn't get approved because we had a very active meeting. So yeah, that should all be sorted out by next time.
Okay, excellent. If there's no business arising from the minutes, was there any business arising from the minutes? Does anyone have any business they'd like to bring up from the back? The audience chamber? No? Okay, excellent. We'll move on. Next up is the officer report. So the chief officer. Are we good for that? Yeah. Okay. So the youth space programs update. Sorry, I should explain. Ebony is currently on.
Yes, she's annually.
Annually.
This is the year.
Cool. So, for starters, there is an officer's recommendation. That's okay. The officer's recommendation is that the Gawler Youth Advisory Committee recommends the council that use of the youth portal cease and irrelevant information on the portal be transferred to the town of Gawler website. I'm not entirely sure if you get context to that, but the summary below says that the youth portal was established to be a youth-friendly website that provides local information about youth-related events, programs, and services, as well as general information on youth-related issues. This report will highlight the current needs and functionality of the youth portal and the opportunities available by transitioning to the town hall website. So, the background of the youth portal was developed in 2014 with funding received from the federal government Digital Inclusion Project. The youth portal was designed by young people from the Gawler Youth Advisory Committee to be for young people within our local. And the purpose of the portal is to provide up-to-date information around local events, programs, services, clubs and groups, and youth resources. The youth portal was directly developed response to the conclusion of the consultation undertaken during the Youth Development Plan of 2013 to 2018. And it has helped fulfil the youth plan outcomes of youth health and well-being and the goal of listening to the needs of all. Since the youth portal's establishment, it's remained relatively unchanged except for the regular updating of content. At the 2nd of December 2019 Gawler Youth Advisory Committee meeting, the Youth Development Officer started a discussion with the committee around the functionality of the new Town of Gawler website and possible opportunities to incorporate youth portal content under the website. The motion at this meeting was endorsed at the 28th of January Council meeting, moved by Councillor and seconded by Councillor Cody Davis. The motion read as follows: the Council adopts the recommendation from the Gawler Youth Advisory Committee made at item 10.2 of the meeting of that committee held on the 2nd of December 2019, being that the Youth Advisory Committee recommends the Council that staff continue investigations into the content transition and new format options and report back to a future Gawler Youth Advisory Committee meeting. This report responds to the above conclusion. The intention of the youth portal is to provide relevant and current information to the young people. The youth portal was initially viewed as a valuable resource for Gawler young people, and the Gawler Youth Advisory Committee played a key role in the youth portal's development. The youth portal was designed by young people for young people. The constant challenge with the youth portal is to ensure that the content is accurate and up to date. Over time, opportunities were offered to youth volunteers to undertake the review of this content, making sure it was relevant and appropriate for Gawler young people, and to make necessary alterations as required. Various attempts to achieve this occurred via the Gawler Youth Advisory Committee marketing plan, regular catch-ups with youth portal advocates, setting regular times to contact local services and clubs, and through research information. Unfortunately, reviewing the content and gaining the relevant information for content updates is time-consuming, and engaging youth volunteers on an ongoing basis amidst other commitments has not been successful, even with the support of the Youth Development Officer. The youth development area has also changed immensely with the opening of the youth space in early 2019. There has been a strong focus on programming throughout school terms and school holidays, and this has refined the needs and requirements from an online platform. As a result of the events and programming section of the youth portal, the youth portal is well utilised. Most other sections receive minimal traffic and can be out of date. Over a number of years, Google Analytics highlighted spikes in youth portal usage related to school holidays. However, access to current data is no longer available. All youth space program and event registrations are pushed to the youth portal. As complete bookings, individuals are redirected to Eventbrite. The Youth Development Officer uses Eventbrite to take registrations and ticket sales, as it has been the most simple and customizable booking platform today. And this is not available on the youth portal. Currently, the Youth Development Officer duplicates events and programs on the portal, Eventbrite, and the Town of Gawler website. The process is time-consuming, and if any details require updating, they need to be updated over the three platforms. In late 2019, the Town of Gawler updated its website. The new website has more functionality than the previous site. It has a more modern look and feel. It has a search functionality which the youth portal does not have. It also connects through to the Gawler Connected Community app, providing opportunities for further promotion and an e-commerce option. Eventbrite and the Town of Gawler website have capabilities to link directly to social media platforms, and the youth portal does not have this functionality. So, attachment 1 includes 2 examples of youth portal past programs with the same information transferred to the new Town of Gawler website. This is simply to provide a visual and assist with conversation. There is further ability to customise on the new council website. The committee is encouraged to discuss the relevance of the youth portal in light of the current and possible future youth development needs. Eliminating the youth portal and directing individuals straight to Eventbrite for booking and a youth section of the town hall website for additional information would streamline the process and create efficiencies. Sorry about that being here. But the attachments are, I believe, on the other document. So that will be used on yeah, basically, I think this is. Sorry, I'm going through headings. That has been, in fact, even that has been attached to the previous motion, so there's been a minute from that meeting directly. So Emily is proposing that we move, recommend to the council that the use of the youth portal cease, and the relevant information regarding the youth that is on the portal be transferred to the town hall website. This is to basically make it easier to use, easier to access, and add extra functionality. So we'll cut down everything's fine and make it easier for people to navigate directly to the site. Okay, Isaac, yes.
Quick question. So when the portal's taken down, will council continue to hold on to the domain name? So is there a plan in place to redirect people from the previous portal onto the current portal website if they search that?
It is not stated here, but I would imagine that that is a good advisement to make. I do not know how we would do that, whether we modify the recommendation.
Through the chair, we can modify the recommendation to keep the domain name and to also talk to IT about how we can redirect the traffic.
Good suggestion. Councillor Davies?
So the discussion in here, it mentions the youth portal, Eventbrite and town hall website, but the Facebook page to me is a notable part of that. I'm just wondering if that's something that is being considered in terms of, putting up events and all that kind of thing.
In the comments / discussion on the 5th page, above attachment 1 for access attachment above, it does state that Eventbrite and the current town hall website do have capabilities to link directly to social media. So we would be an upgrade in that sense as well. So we'd have probably more access to Facebook, stuff like that. Yes, Councillor Davies.
So just to clarify, when you say that has capability to link directly, is that in terms of you make an event and post it as an event on Facebook, for example? What does it mean by that?
Through the chair, we are able to have a link there to the Facebook page, and we automatically put our events up onto our Facebook page, as well as doing it in the youth portal at the moment. So it would automatically send it straight there once we link that.
Any other questions? Any questions from anyone at the back of the room, at the back of the chamber? Okay. There's nothing else to discuss. Do we have a second for the modified motion that would look at redirecting traffic from the current youth portal, keep that address to the new site? Isaac as a mover, and let's go with Darcy as a second. So do we want to read out?
Chair, that the Youth Advisory Committee recommends to Council that use of the youth portal cease and relevant information from the portal be transferred to the Town of Gawler website. In addition, it is recommended to keep the current domain name available and to redirect traffic to the new Town of Gawler website.
Councillor Davies?
And just being, I guess, a bit more specific there, to redirect the traffic to the new youth section of the Town of Gawler website. And I'd like to speak to the motion. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, just to say that I think this is something that I know Ebony's had some frustration over the years that the non-event side of the website, just keeping the information up to date about clubs and phone numbers to call for mental health services and various things like that is something that needs to be checked and kept up to date, and new things need to be added, and it's just something that side of it sort of being difficult and being, you know, falling by the wayside. So just sort of focusing on what everyone's actually using the website for, which is keeping track of all of the events and that kind of thing, I think makes sense to me.
As the motion stands, Isaac, are you still happy to move that? And Darcy, are you still happy to second it? Excellent. In that case, all those in favour? Unanimously carried. Excellent. So moving on that, roughly other things to bring up on the so we'll move on then, I guess, to items listed for discussion. So 7.1, Climate Emergency Action Plan Working Group update. For this, I would like to invite Jack Hill to speak. As, yeah, you were were you at the last meeting? So, yeah, Jack. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Don't know.
find the microphone.
Yeah.
For the purposes of the.
Yeah, for the.
Thank you. So recently we had the opportunity to test drive the ACE EV cargo vehicle as a test run to see its functionality and whether or not it fits within sort of the Town of Gawler usage, especially once older vehicles sort of pass by their use-by dates and sort of look at being replaced with more efficient vehicles. That was quite good. The cars were quite interesting and especially great to drive. There was sort of focus on local economy, so local production, local materials, so it's all kind of that really centered sustainability focus from the get-go. The Climate Emergency Action Plan is currently thinking more so looking at the community aspects, so travel, sort of like active transport, so walking through the town, utilising public parks and pathways, as well as sort of looking at the production of the local economy, so rather than going all the way into, say, overseas materials, looking more towards ourselves and our neighbours to reduce emissions that way. Also, we are thinking on the staff engagement focus, so primarily on the EV usage. So as I created a survey that was handed out during the cargo testing, looking at electric vehicle usage and their sort of behaviours towards it. So we know that it's a good thing, that we use it, they won't lose it, that aspect, and results, as Tim Kelly, the environmental officer, said, were quite positive. It shows that there will be an uptake and a positive behaviour towards that, and it might lead to sort of private use and private purchasing as well. Also looking at the idea that sort of think green, so looking at the printing, the driving, the energy practices, turning off the computer when you don't need it, appropriate air conditioning usage, and all that stuff. Yeah, that's kind of a brief update. And yeah, if anyone has any sort of thoughts that they want to add into the document, post it in the youth leaders Facebook page or message or email. That way it can sort of be an inclusion of all the sort of residents of the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on then to the Youth Advisory Panel update. Sorry, Councillor Shanks.
Sorry, I was just going to add on to Jack Jew's presentation there, if I could. The Emergency Action Group, we've also, which has been received really well on a collective member level, our chair, Catherine Moorhouse, and the environmental services from the town of Gawler, Tim Kelly, have been conducting Zoom meetings, almost like an interview style with all elected members with a series of questions. So what they're doing with that is, having a meeting via Zoom with all of us and just trying to outline some of our thoughts and feelings around it, because not all of us are on that group. And it's a bit of a two-pronged approach, because what they're trying to do is try to get ahead of the arguments before they crop up, and then also try to feel out a direction that the elected members feel important. So I think that's been a really positive engagement, and hopefully we're going to be able to sort of host some of the clips that everyone can have a look at and comment on. So yeah, just one last little thing there to add.
Is there any questions anyone would like to ask of the emergency action plan working? Excellent. Okay, moving on. Youth Advisory Panel update. This is a group run by our local member of light, Tony Piccolo, where he basically tries to get an idea on youth reactions to basic sense, for the sake of his voting and policy making at the state level. There was one meeting that has occurred for us throughout the COVID situation that happened the other week, that was over Zoom. And in that, we mostly talked about the impacts of COVID on young people, how it's affected people from all age brackets. It's mostly focused at schooling students, so high school students mostly. We discussed that for a bit, and it was brought up by one of the students, the Black Lives Matter movement, and the racial tension that exists at an international level. And so Tony Piccolo was able to provide, I guess, his opinion on everything that's happening. So that was about it. I know the next meeting we're planning on getting Dr. Naira. That's it, thank you. To speak to the Youth Advisory Panel about mental health and how to, I guess, stay healthy after everything that's happened regarding COVID and generally. And it's always been a goal of the Youth Advisory Panel to address mental health as it is such a large issue with young people. And we've been trying to get Dr. Naira on for a while. I think she attended one meeting. But that's about it. It's relatively informal, relaxed, and just basically a relatively large conversation, which is good because it is a good way to connect the youth to stakeholders. So yeah, I guess moving on then to the Youth Development Officer of the
Ebony's provided some notes, so I'll just read out some information relating to the update. Firstly, with the youth-based programs update. So all youth programs started back in week 3 of term 2, so the week of the 11th of May. They're online. So Monday there was a weekly wellness, team yoga. Tuesday was a learn to draw. Wednesday was a midweek hangs, so everybody hosting a session, people could dial in by Zoom. Thursdays was music afternoons. So after the June long weekend, the Monday, Tuesday and Thursday programs commenced back face-to-face on site, as the restrictions are further eased through COVID-19. The Wednesday program did remain online because due to social distancing requirements and uncertainty that this could be enforced for this program. So we didn't have a maximum number of people that could go be allowed into the youth space as per our COVID safe plan. We have had mixed responses, so some people really liked the online options, and throughout the term, on average, we've had about 5 attending each program. So a bit of a mixed response there. It is anticipated as community confidence is restored with restrictions further easing into term 3 that numbers will begin to pick up, possibly, towards later in the year, depending on what happens with the COVID situation, to return to pre-COVID numbers where we would approximately get 10 to 15 per program. In addition to the weekly programs, the Youth Development Officer has worked with Dr. Naomi Rutten, Mental Health GP, to run an online parenting program called Help the Parent. This has been really, really well received, with 290 members in the private Facebook group, which is really amazing. Parents can ask questions that Dr. Naomi addresses in a pre-recorded video and post to YouTube. So videos are then accessible for parents at their convenience to watch. And this will continue into term 3 because of its huge success. That's really good. Term 3 programs. We've got a handout of the July school holiday programs and then the term 3 programs. One of the programs that we'll be running on a Tuesday, starting in term 3, is called Living Smart. This is in conjunction with the Gawler Environment Centre, and it's for 15 to 18-year-olds, and encourage you all to promote this through your circles, and it's also a great way of earning some SACE points for the age group. So that's going to be on Tuesdays. There is a draft for term 3, what we've got booked in. So we're going to continue on site. Wednesdays are the Learn to Draw, that's been really popular. Thursdays, acoustic afternoons, and then online help from a parent is still continuing, as I said. July school holidays, so starting tomorrow. Tomorrow we've got a creative writing workshop, so we've got 5 booked into that. Wednesday we've got Learn to Draw, so there's actually 12 booked into that. And Thursday we've got 2 programs on, one in the morning, which is Oliver Clay Jewellery Makers. That's been booked out for about a week now. And there's Write a Song with Crafty, and that's got about 9 participants so far. So there's enrolment still coming in for the barista courses and the other courses there, so it's still a little bit of time before next week before they start. Ebony just provided a few other notes as well. We've been successful in gaining a grant for funds to have conversations through the Commissioner's Community Conversations with children and young people regarding what they feel the government responses should be post-COVID-19. So Ebony has asked me to pass on to you that she will be speaking to you in more depth about this when she returns at the next meeting, and it could possibly require a separate workshop to discuss this further. So I think that'll be really exciting. A grant application has been submitted last week through it's round 1 of a National Careers Institute Partnership Grant. So that Ebony's been working on that. And then we have also the Youth Artists and Sports Person Sponsorship Program that closed on the 3rd of July. Unfortunately, when Ebony left for leave on the 30th of June, we didn't actually have any applications in, and I haven't received any since. So it's very unusual and very much a reflection of so many things being cancelled due to COVID-19. So I'm sure she will get in touch with you about that and whether or not they get extended. extended or we promote it through other channels when she returns. We also have had a meeting request, and this is for the chair, for Karen Nicole and or Honourable John Dawkins will attend the August meeting to discuss mental health and suicide prevention. Yeah, they've sent through that request. So I think that will be interesting for them to attend, if you're happy with that. And then we are looking at, when Emily returns, obviously the skate park, the workshops, and the events coming up in that space. And what we're able to return, we're hoping that will return in August with the restrictions, everything. And then lastly, she's asked me to mention the LAN party, a memorial to one of the youth volunteers, Jordan McGreen. That's being planned for the 22nd of August, I understand. Okay, thank you.
Do we need a mover and a second for the updates? Just realised we couldn't do that. Jumping back to the climate emergency action plan working group, which was provided by Jack and Councillor Shanks. Could I get a mover and a second? Sorry for that report. Please have to move and Brennan second. All those in favour? Unanimously carried. And the youth advisory panel update. Can I get a mover and a second? In first and Jay second. And all those in favour? Unanimously carried. And the youth development officer update, which is just provided to us. Can I get a mover and a second for that? Darcy is a mover and Isaac as a second. Yes. Sorry. So can I get all those in favour for those? For the first one, unanimously carried. For the youth advisory panel update, unanimously carried. And for the youth development officer update, unanimously carried. Next up, the vehicle. Next up, the vehicle on the road testing report testing.
I've just got a question about.
Yes, of course.
Cool. I've just got a question about the youth development policy update about the Living Smart program. I heard that it provides SACE credits. Is that stage 2 or stage 1? Stage 1, yeah. It was stage 2.
We can take that question on notice and confirm that.
Okay. Any other questions, sorry, for any of those committees? Any of those updates? No? Excellent. Okay, so moving on to the vehicle on the road testing report testing. There has been no update on this. I was intending on meeting with the mayor, but a family situation arose and I was unable to do so. So I have nothing to add on to this regretfully. If there's anything else someone would like to bring up, by all means.
Last week in the meeting when I don't think you were there, just your absence. Yeah, we discussed why I raised maybe taking a suggestion or talking to the mayor about a suggestion moving forward and what we can look to take to the minister if we are going to take something. Because as it stands, obviously the minister is not going to be inclined to do anything since he's explained to us that the reasoning for moving from Gawler to Elizabeth is to have that hub and for auditing purposes, etc. So moving forward, whether we should to have a conversation about whether we should think about a petition to establish a hub in Gawler or some other option so that we can take a solution to the minister rather than just keep talking about the problem.
No, fair enough. I don't agree with that. I'm Yeah, there's not much really I can add on that regretfully. I don't know if I need to bother reading that. Moving on into items listed for discussion at future meetings. Is there anything anyone would like to discuss at a future meeting? No? Okay. Is there anything anyone at the back would like to have discussed at a future meeting? So just figure out checking.
Just one thing regarding the youth space internship, the case study that Isaac led at the end of last year. Just wondering if you've heard anything about it.
Through the chair, so tomorrow evening, the elected members are considering the budget throughout the public consultation. So currently that's still in there, as I understand, it's currently below the line. So obviously we're looking to get some feedback from the general community about the budget, and then the elected members will consider the final budget implications in August. So that's still not wrapped up yet. The budget process is a little bit slower this year as a result of COVID, unless Councillor Davies or Councillor Shanks want to add anything to that one.
Councillor Davies?
Yeah, so basically, usually budget stuff would be wrapping up around now, but not only local governments, federal government, like everyone's pushing back their budgets for obvious reasons. So a lot of it's just still up in the air when it would have usually been sorted out by now. Obviously, the situation has changed dramatically since it was first proposed in terms of what we're allocating budget to and what becomes the highest priority on the budget. So we'll see, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, obviously, like our plans have sort of shifted 180 degrees on a lot of things that were previously going in the budget. We're sort of making, like 2 million in cuts or whatever to try and sort all of this out. So yeah, we should have more news on that by the next YAC meeting.
Councillor Shanks?
Just in saying all that, we are looking for public consultation. It would be very, very powerful for everyone to jump on that and just highlight the importance of this, regardless of the COVID-19 pandemic. At the very least, you are able to engage in a process that elected members value quite a lot. Would be fantastic to see you guys and your networks all engaging on that sort of level. So I encourage you to have a look. And if COVID-19 and the reasons that Councillor Davies has just highlighted is the reason we can't get it up this year, there's no reason we can't have another crack at it again next year. So yeah, really invite you to have a look.
With that in mind, could we maybe get a link to that up on the youth leaders possibly? Rather than that, it goes up. Excellent, thank you. Okay, is there any other items listed for discussion at future meetings? Okay, excellent. Moving on to questions without notice. Are there any questions without notice?
Sorry, just coming back to if it can be a question without notice. It is about the board thing, but I'll just ask this question. So, did you meet with the mayor on the 25th of May?
Actually, I think I checked on July. I did, yes. Sorry. There was a discussion that did take place. There was a discussion that did take place, and it was a while ago, so my memory, and a lot was happening at that point in time. So my memory might not be completely accurate with this one. but it was my understanding that after the meeting we had discussed it all and we basically come to the conclusion that what we should do instead of putting a lot of pressure on the situation, we should be a bit more quiet about, a bit more background and try and build up a community voice as opposed to a voice from council directly. Because with state politics, it's very much a matter of government versus position, and we were aware that we didn't want to come across, as being part of the opposition, because at that point, as soon as we try and propose anything, we have troubles constantly. So we were trying to do it more with a community, voice of community interest. Yeah, it was a while ago, sorry. Yeah. Yes, Councillor James.
Did you bring this up at your youth advisory panel with Tony Piccolo around the board?
No, I didn't get an opportunity to directly. It was mentioned at previous meetings, because it is such a big thing amongst local schools.
Yep.
On the youth advisory panel, there is a couple of students from Xavier College who had a petition, thank you, petition to basically get it reinstated, and they had several hundred students and very servers from the school sign that, parents and guardians, and that went to the Ministry of Transport, but I don't think anything, I've not heard anything about that. And I know some of the other schools went, oh, that's a brilliant idea, we should do that as well, but again, I haven't heard anything following up on that. So it's, well, with everything that's been going on in the past couple of months, it's kind of been, quiet. Was there anything that you wanted to ask?
Apologise, you might have said this before, but so is there a future meeting planned with the mayor since the last one was cancelled?
Yeah, the meetings are monthly, so I think it's generally at the end of the month. The meeting I'll have another meeting booked in. I'm going to, I think, try and get one booked in a bit earlier to discuss it as early as possible, just to get everything set in stone. But yes, thus far, I think it's the last Monday of the month is usually the meeting. But I think some of them have been on Friday and Thursday, so I think it's last week of the month and when the mayor has a free spot.
One last thing, if you have any minutes from that May 25th meeting, is it possible to take that on notice and just come back to the committee with some detail about what happened during that meeting?
There are no formal minutes, annoyingly enough. I can, definitely take notes. I've always been a terrible note taker, so I'll do my best. I'll get that next meeting. Previous meetings, I don't have any notes. So, okay, moving on. Are there any other questions without notice that people would like to bring up? Okay, any questions without notice from the back of the chamber? Okay, moving on then to motions without notice. Are there any motions without notice? Oh, okay. I guess next up is the meeting close, which is at 7:23. Our next regular meeting is Monday the 3rd of August 2020, commencing at 6:30.